right?
Now, does that mean that we're going to have so much inventory that the prices are going to come down because we have so much inventory? These people are leaving California to buy some of these houses out of state. Is that
Well,
what it means?
I mean, there's 1.89 million single family homes in LA County. So I don't think that that's a massive glut compared to, right? And on average, there's about 14 to 17,000 homes for sale at any given time in LA County. So again, to see that many homes come on the market after the holidays is very normal. And I think what we're going to see is a really normal market going into this year.
So
I think we're going to see a normal amount of growth, right? What was it last year in LA County? 7.5%, 8%.
true. Yeah.
Hey guys, Lucas Smith here. I'm here again with my buddy Gary Yao, baby. And we've
Hello,
got an
hello.
interesting topic to talk about today. Gary, how you doing?
I'm doing great. What do we have today?
So I've gotten a couple of calls this week, and I just wanted to share them with everybody because it kind of gives me a little bit of a chuckle.
Okay.
So I'll tell you about the calls, and I'll tell you about a personal story that happened to me many, many years ago. So the calls I've gotten are from people who have houses out of state. The guy I just hung up with was in Florida. I got another call earlier this week from a guy in New York, right?
Hmm.
And they both said to me, they said, I'm calling real estate agents in California because I heard on the news that the entire LA County has burned down. And I think people might want to move out of that area and move to a house. And I have a house for sale here
In the state that they're living in.
in the state that they're living in, right? This guy was in Jacksonville, Florida. The other guy was in upstate New York, right? I have a house here and I want to sell, and maybe somebody wants to move from that area where there's decimation and everything burned down to my area.
Fair enough. Fair
And I
enough.
laughed.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
So,
and, and houses here in California, if you follow that logic, right, it makes sense because houses here in California are double, triple the value in many states, sometimes even four times the value. So
oh,
yeah.
the guy in Florida was telling me he lived on the poor side of the street facing the golf course because the rich people had a yacht dock in their backyard,
Yeah, easily you can afford that for so
right?
small one bedroom, one bathroom here. You can easily buy that over there.
Oh,
Following that
dude,
logic.
dude. So I'll tell you a funny quick story before we get into this. So many, many moons ago, I lived in Colorado, and my wife at the time, not my current wife, my ex-wife, her grandma who had raised her called us, and there had been a bunch of wildfires in the Front Range area of Colorado where we lived. We lived around Denver,
Hmm.
and she said, "Oh my gosh, how are you guys doing with the wildfires? Are you okay?" And any fire was miles and miles from our house.
Uh-huh.
But the news, right, had told her that the entire Denver metro area was burning and she should
Mm.
worry about us.
As you should, if that
And
was the
I
case.
quipped because I'm a funny guy. I said, no, just tell her that we put our asbestos suits on when we go out to go grocery shopping. So tell grandma we're okay.
Oh my God. How did she take it?
She was worried. Was
Oh
really worried
no.
about us.
Did she offer to send you more asbestos so I can
No,
do
no,
more?
no. She asked us when we were moving home and how we could live in such a dangerous area and all of that, right? But just a little funny anecdote to say that perception is reality for some people, right? What we see on the news, really, if we don't know any better, we're going to tend to believe it,
Okay.
right? In
No.
a lot of cases, especially when it comes to natural disaster, things like that, right?
Mm.
Um, so these people in these other states are thinking that the entirety of LA County has burnt down, right? From, from the border of LA County all the way out to the ocean is one big ash fire because they saw the devastation, the horrible devastation in areas like Pacific Palisades, and they assume that that was the entire county.
Well, some headlines point out that this is the biggest disaster, natural disaster in the American history.
Right.
You hear that, you might think, wow, in history, like yeah, like it burned out a city, Pacific Palisades.
And it was horrible. Don't I look, I want
Yes.
to be very clear. I'm never making light of it. It was horrible. I have clients who lost everything and it's a terrible thing. But I don't know that it's the largest natural disaster in US history. Right. I don't believe that for a second. I mean, there's been earthquakes, there's been hurricanes. Hurricane Katrina was much worse than this for New Orleans. right? The Northridge quake was, very devastating for the entire LA area. Multiple cities in LA were, um,
Well, I to that point, I think that what they meant to say is that as far as value, as cost, because some of these houses were worth millions, like
millions,
even
right?
yeah,
Yeah, and financially that might be true, right? It might be the
financially.
largest number of financial loss
Hmm.
from any natural disaster in US history. That
Yeah.
quite possibly could be true. I don't know the numbers there,
Hmm.
but that's not what people hear when they hear largest natural disaster.
They think as far as disaster, displacement of people, people living in tents. I suppose they imagine that, like a lot of people that have no place to stay, that living in
Right.
tents. So,
Well, and
uh,
let's talk about real effects on the real estate market, because that's what we're really here to talk about, right, Gare? Is
right.
how does it really impact the real estate market? So
Okay.
you and I, we were chit-chatting a little bit before this, and I looked at the number of new home listings in January 2025,
Hmm.
because we only have month-old data, right? Last month data. Last month, 7,920 new listings came on the market in January, which is a 20% growth over December. And that's a very normal growth number for listings December versus January. So what
If
we're seeing is we're seeing a normal market for what we've had for what we can call a normal market for the past 10 years, worth of growth
Yeah,
in the list
it's a
in the listing
cycle.
inventory.
Like it's normal for us to jump to have an uptick of inventory when we come back from from December, especially
From the holidays.
the
Yeah. And
holidays. Yes.
and that growth number is usually somewhere between 15 and 25%. So to see a 20% growth, that's right in line with what we can expect,
Hmm.
right?
Now, does that mean that we're going to have so much inventory that the prices are going to come down because we have so much inventory? These people are leaving California to buy some of these houses out of state. Is that
Well,
what it means?
I mean, there's 1.89 million single family homes in LA County. So I don't think that that's a massive glut compared to, right? And on average, there's about 14 to 17,000 homes for sale at any given time in LA County. So again, to see that many homes come on the market after the holidays is very normal. And I think what we're going to see is a really normal market going into this year.
So
I think we're going to see a normal amount of growth, right? What was it last year in LA County? 7.5, 8%,
true, yeah.
right? And I
And
go
Lucas,
ahead.
bear in mind, this is in a high interest rate environment. We still have that growth. Imagine just have that sink in.
Wait. Stop.
What?
High interest rate. In 1982, the interest rate was 16%, Gary.
Lucas,
Average interest rate over the last 50 years is 7.5%.
Lucas, the average buy is 33. That means that person buy a house was born in the 90s. Don't give me that rate from the 70s and the 80s. Okay? That
Just because
means
they weren't born yet doesn't mean it wasn't happening, bro.
we are in a different economy, which means that right now, like, look, when was the pandemic in 2000 to
2020?
2022? Yeah, so that was like when did we enjoy 3%? 2 years ago, 3 years ago? That's
About
still
two
fresh in
years ago,
people's
we
mind.
went from 4%, from high threes to low fours, all the way up to about 7%.
Did we ever touch eight? I think
We
so,
did.
right?
We kissed eight for a minute, right?
Yeah.
We
Okay.
dated eight, but we didn't really settle on it.
Okay, that didn't work out. Anyways, so what I'm saying is the 3% is still fresh in our mind. We're thinking that X, that oh, that could have been. So
You
we have
know,
that hope that's gonna come back and marry us. Okay? Don't bring me that old one from 40, 50 years ago, the 8 and 10%. That's history. We're
Gary,
not
when
dealing
I
with
was a
that.
kid, right, I barely worked out. I lived on double bacon cheeseburgers and French fries, and I was ripped, man. I didn't have any body fat. I had great muscle tone.
That was many,
Today,
many,
I got
many
to go to the
moons.
gym and work out hard 5 times a week just to maintain what I got.
That's now. So you see my point. Like right now, the growth of last year at a high interest, well, relative high interest environment was still at 7%. So we expect that nothing's going to change. All things being equal, we're going to enjoy the same growth of of property values,
We're
which
probably going to enjoy about the same appreciation of property values
yes,
despite what interest rates are doing.
yes,
Again, I'll say it, and I've said it before here on our meeting. I don't think we're going to see a drastic change in interest rates over the next year. I
yeah.
think there might go down a little bit, or they're probably going to stay close to the same. I think we're going to see more consumer confidence, right?
Now,
I think that the economy is going to be really solid. I think we're going to see more consumer confidence, and I think
yeah.
that that's going to push the growth in the real estate market
Mhm.
rather than low interest rates.
I want to add this though. Even though we have what's the impact of these wildfires? Yes, I will say that the rental market in the vicinities of the areas affected will go up in value, will have uptick.
100%. That's
That
100%. The biggest impact we're seeing is there's a huge amount of growth in the rental market, right?
yes.
And if you have a rental unit in those areas that you're not renting,
Mhm.
or that you're, letting the kids stay in for free, kick them out, rent that out, make some extra money. I'm just kidding.
Or have your kids pay for that rent to make up for that
Well, the kids
loss.
can't really afford it, and mom's not going to let you charge market value. Let's just do it. Be honest there, Garrett. Right? I'm married. You're married. Right? Mama Bear's not going to let you charge a fair market interest. So kick those kids out.
Mama Bear strong.
Well,
So
I don't know what the rule is in your house, but in my house, we have one rule: happy wife,
happy
happy
life.
life.
So I will say that, like, what's the impact? Like, I will say that it's going to be a huge, um, a huge of people movement. Like me, people going to all those days. I'm sorry for your friend who's looking to sell to Californians. That is not going to happen. Those who want to move plan and move already, not because of the fire, it's because of their personal situations, where a job transfer or retirement or whatever that case might be.
Well,
But
and those with flexibility are going to exercise that. I did have some clients who lost everything, unfortunately, in the fires, and I talked to them just a week or so ago, and they said, Lucas, after all this, we just decided to move out to Henderson, which is a suburb of Las Vegas, for the next year, while we wait for the settlement and we wait to rebuild and all of that.
are
Right.
they coming
So
back though?
they're going to rebuild. They're going to come back, but they just temporarily relocated out of state a few hours because it's significantly cheaper than renting here.
But they're not moving out in the sense that, oh, forget
They're not
California.
leaving California necessarily.
That's what I'm
No,
saying. That's my
they're
point.
flexing into a situation that's available for them because of where they're at in their lives,
Yeah.
and making it a little bit less expensive to afford the cost of living
hmm
by
So,
going to another state.
and here's my point. Needless to say, that space, that vacant space, is not going to be sold to another new family. They are
No.
keeping that for themselves. This like it
Yeah,
doesn't
absolutely.
free up inventory for new.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like that
Yeah,
means that
there's not going to be a huge amount of these multi ultra modern homes built on those lots that are going to be sold to new buyers. I
no,
don't think so, right? I think we're going to
no.
see a lot of like kind building and people rebuilding once they get their insurance money, and people keeping their homes.
So whatever uptick in the market is going to be temporarily. The rental, if
In the
there's
rental market, yeah, I think
yeah,
there's
it's
going to be a temporary increase in the rental market. And that's what we're seeing. So I know there's going to be an increase in the rental market. As far as impacting our overall sales market here in California, I don't think it's going to do that. I just don't
no.
think it's a significant enough number to do that. So that's my opinion on it.
So in conclusion, let's wrap this up. I would say that those who are trying to bank on offering houses to Californians don't, because we enjoy living here. We
Well,
enjoy.
my experience is anybody who tries to time the market, most of those people lose.
Yeah,
Right?
don't time
It's
the
kind of
market.
like playing craps a little bit. And if you've ever played craps, it's a lot of fun when you win, but sometimes you just don't know quite how you got there.
So the market is going to do what the market is, and this is just a tiny setback. We'll bounce back for that in actually, I would say very quickly.
Yep, I totally agree, Gary.
Lucas, if people want to get a hold of you, how can they contact you?
Well, my website's right here on the screen, sellmyhomerealestate.com. Just send me a quick email or you can give me a call. And how about you, Gary? How do people get a hold of you?
For me, it's just a Google hashtag Gary Yao.
Gary Yao. Gary Yao, baby. All right, brother. Hey, I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Talk to you next
Bye-bye.
week. Bye.